All right, it's been a long day of work, and yard work, but I still managed to find a couple hours to squeeze in a movie today. And I went to see the new Space Jam movie. I'll be honest, I can't even remember the subtitle on it right now. Probably should be more professional about it. But yeah, I just, got off work. I was not originally going to see it today. I was going to do something else, but I was like, you know what? I got a couple hours to burn. Let me watch it real quick and make a review on it. I don't know if this is a movie that really needs to be bothered with spoilers or not. You pretty much know the story from seeing the trailer. Main thing is, it's definitely a kids movie. And also, LeBron is not really an actor. Definitely he warmed up as the movie went along, but the first third, he was doing a lot of reactions and emotions that were not syncing up with what was supposed to be going on, and also a lot of I don't know. I don't think he was just that comfortable on camera in the very beginning, because there's a few scenes where other people are talking and in the background he's like shoulders hunched, hands just hanging there, and he's just watching the conversation. I'm like, that's not like, if you unless you're in trouble. So I don't know. I was like, what are you doing in that scene? And just a few other scenes, his face was like very flat when what he was saying was very serious, or his face was more animated, but what he was saying was just like whatever. It was just kind of a weird synchronization there. Pretty quickly though, they threw him into being animated, which works a lot better. I think he also put a lot more into the voice. They got like someone pushing him in voice acting, because he definitely was putting a whole lot more emotion into the voice and some goofy slapstick stuff once he was animated. But anyway, I'm kind of skipping ahead of myself here. Let's just talk about the movie itself and what my rating for it is. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It was, honestly, towards the very ending, I was just like, I think I know how this wraps up. I had stuff to get to, so I was like, I went and stood by the door, and I was like, all right, good, we're good, I'm out. So, I mean, it was a good movie. It's pretty serviceable. There was some kids in the audience. They definitely enjoyed it. So there was some fun like stuff to watch in the movie. I'll get to in a second. But yeah, overall, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Pretty solid. I guess 3 out of 5 would be my kind of middle of the road rating. Let's move on to talking more about the plot overall is pretty straightforward. His son gets kidnapped. He goes through this whole adventure in order to get his son back. But there's also a lesson in letting his son grow up to be who he wants to be, rather than trying to make him into LeBron James II. It's not a most original plot or anything. Pretty decent, I think. They definitely played around with it a little bit interestingly, because may as well just jump into spoilers. I don't know if people care too much, but the final battle, or final, obviously the basketball game rolls around, but instead of it just being a bunch of goons, which it kind of is. I mean, there's other basketball players who've been turned into being the goons, but their lead player for the enemy team is his son, which is a very interesting twist around that. I do like a lot of how they maneuvered the characters around to be against each other like that. It did kind of, in a way, lower the stakes. Obviously the stakes are, we need to get out of this game thing. We can't get out if we don't win the game, and no one else will get out either. They added a lot of stuff towards the very end to add more stakes to it, but overall, the stakes weren't really that high. It was more around the father and the son, which I did like that a lot. Definitely, they were trying to push it through I don't know. They did, there was point A, there was point B. Getting there was definitely pretty rough, and there was definitely several leaps. But overall, I think if you're a kid watching it, or someone who just wants to watch, well, I'll get to that as well, but just want to watch all these various characters, Jetsons, Flintstones, Iron Giant, King Kong, they were just throwing characters in your face. Matrix, did have several Matrix type characters too. So also White Walkers and Game of Thrones characters, and I think it was Pirates of the Caribbean. A lot of stuff were in there. A lot of Easter eggs. In a way, it's like Ready Player One, where you want to kind of look at the background, or Wreck-It Ralph, and spot characters and like, oh, I know that character. Oh, I know this. Oh, they did this. Just to spice up the story. But it wasn't very that big. I think I did see something about them having to travel through different worlds. That was pretty much a quick montage with a few quick scenes. nothing too crazy. They definitely gave Daffy some pretty funny like one-liner jokes to throw in there. But that's mostly his character in the movie, just those one-line punches. Honestly, my favorite part of the movie's gotta be Don Cheadle just chewing the scenery, just over the top. It reminded me a lot of, if you finish Loki, final episode. It's always fun to watch that kind of character, that over the topness, that kind of. I don't remember the exact quotes, but he was definitely a very funny character to watch and just enjoyable to be on scene with. Everybody else, I think, was pretty serviceable. Obviously, they had several characters there just for humor, which is what you'd expect. I mean, it's the Looney Tunes and other stuff. Looney Tunes themselves were, like I said, I don't think they were that funny. We definitely got some good lines, I think, from Daffy, but they were not. They were kind of like, we need someone to make a funny joke this moment. Daffy, say something, you know. So overall, it's really, I'm mostly just watching it for for King Al G Rhythm. And yeah, I give it a 3 because, I mean, while I don't think it really went too crazy, went to anywhere too interesting, on the other hand, it wasn't like insufferable. It wasn't something awful, which is why it'd be either 2 or 3. 1 would be, we're not rewatching it, but 2 I kind of saved for, I really didn't like the movie, but there's something about it to watch it. I didn't dislike this movie at all. It was a pretty good movie, just for, like I say, I think if you have your family, you have some kids, just relaxing and watching it is pretty good. Some humorous stuff there. Nice little story. I don't know how many lessons you're really going to get out of it other than the very straightforward one introduced right off the bat with, he wanted to play a few video games. He was like, his coach was like, you want to change your life, play basketball, get serious, get rid of all this. So he did. So he tried to push his son the same way. Stop doing all this other nonsense. That's your dreams, get rid of it. We were playing basketball. That's your ticket. Which is kind of a little strange because he doesn't, like for LeBron, he needed to do that to help his family, to help whatever. His son doesn't need to do any of this to help anybody. Like, him playing basketball would just be purely for the love of it, which means he wouldn't be as crazy into it. I don't know. But it's not something you want to it's not a story you want to examine too closely. They just want to, throw a bunch of their properties in your face, get some, some good jokes, some interesting scenes. Pretty much anything with Cheeto was really funny. I don't think it was ad-libbed. Couple things might have been, but I do remember one scene which was pretty funny where he was super angry. He's yelling at the whole lineup of Goon Squad. And afterwards he tries sitting on a bench, but they crowd the bench and he falls on the floor. He's like, get up, scoot over. We could all share the bench. It's just kind of a funny moment because he was just been raging and calling them names and just whatever a moment ago. They had to bleep out a lot of his language in that scene. And the next second he's like, come on guys, just give me a little bit of bench space. So I don't know. It was really fun to watch him in this movie. I kind of mostly went to see it because, Space Jam. Remember watching that, enjoying it. They did have some good music. They kind of had one scene where I think they were going towards playing, the Space Jam song that we're all familiar with. But yeah, I mean, they had good music, but it wasn't specifically that level in my opinion. I have to maybe check out the soundtrack at a later point, see what I think about it. But yeah, I mean, we got Bugs, we got everybody doing what they do. Bugs was a little bit, I don't know. The thing is, they had a main point they were trying to get across, like I told you right off from the very beginning, and everybody just kind of molded around to doing that. They didn't have much story arc outside that. It didn't have much else going on in their life. That's all they were doing, was molding around. We need to do what we want to do, and you're trying to force us in a different direction. It's not going to work. That's basically what everybody's lesson was for LeBron. So no one else really had much going on for them. But anyway, that's enough rambling about the movie. Definitely fun to pick out some Easter eggs. Definitely fun to see Don Cheadle just just hamming it up and having a good time. Yeah, 3 out of 5. That's my review for Space Jam. I think it's A New Legacy, if I'm correct. We'll see post-production. But yeah, have a great day.